Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. We're here at the Whiskey Pit and we have a special guest this time around. Caleb, my son, he's home for the holidays. He came home for Christmas break from the Air Force. So he brought a new whiskey, one that's actually just out and hard to get your hands on, actually. He's going to tell us all about it. I've never heard of it, honestly. So, Caleb, it's all yours.
So this is from a new company. Just some fans in the tabletop RPG space, so Dungeons and Dragons, things like that, decided to come out with the whiskey for fans of the games to enjoy while you're playing or just
Okay, so I'm gonna stop him a couple times because for us older people who are, I don't know, whiskey drinkers are slow. You said tabletop what?
RPG.
RPG. So not what you shooting rockets from your tabletop. Um, RPG is a role playing, I guess. So that what it
Yeah.
is. Okay, so Dungeons and Dragons back in the day, in the '80s, big. They still play it nowadays. Can you believe it? So people like
So
that came out with this.
yeah.
Okay.
So Matthew Lillard is one of the co-founders. People may know him from his many TV and movies. Some of the big ones being the old live action Scooby Doo movies, and he's been in the TV show The Good Girls that was pretty big when it came out as well. Uh, but he's one of the co-founders on this, and then a bunch of other people have obviously helped. So it's Quest and Paladin, their first release. So everything's going to be different characters you can play in the games as they slowly release them.
So it's Quest in Paladin.
It's
Okay.
the name of this whiskey.
Okay.
It's the company name is Found Familiar Spirits. They named it off of one of the spells in there. But they made this blend from small batches in Kentucky and Indiana.
Okay.
Sourced it together and had a lady by the name of Al Ochoa uh, make the blend for this bottle. So she's their head distiller out
So
there.
let's take a look at the bottle right quick. So it's a little different. So if you ever saw on the shelf, which you can't right now, right? So it's a. So how do you
Yes.
get a hand on the bottle?
So right now they're just pretty much straight to consumer online. So depending on where you live in your states, you might not be able to get your hands on it depending on the laws of your state on shipping whiskey.
So where would you go to get even find out about it?
If you just look up Questin online, you can
Quest in
hit their website.
whiskey. Quest in distillery, I guess. Quest in distillery.
Yeah, so
Okay.
if you just look up Questin or Found Familiar Spirits, you'll be able to find social media pages or website to be able to get your hand on. They're actually doing a second release of this bottle because it was so popular. Uh, the bottle will be slightly different than it looks now because they want to keep this one intact for those who got on their hands on the first batch of bottles. So they're slightly changing up the bottle to make it a little different for the second batch, but they are re-releasing it because it's been so popular. So it's going to start around January timeframe, I believe.
So give them a little closer look at the bottle and
So
the unique thing on the side.
so yeah, so we have the bottle right here. This is the Paladin, so it has its shield and its weapon right there, and we got Paladin on the side, and then on this side it's pretty cool. It's your health points. So as you drink more whiskey, you get more health. Uh, so fun part of the game, and then we have a map. So with the purchase of your bottle, they're also including these little books, a story to go along with the whiskey. So this will be the story of the Paladin, and then as the next release drops, there'll be more stories to tie in with the whiskey as well. Got the nice little dragon, that's their logo, and then on the top you got a little dice that you play the game with. So they definitely put a lot into the packaging and made it something different and unique than your traditional whiskey unboxings or buying a bottle.
So we have a great looking bottle, great looking display. You get health points if you drink it. So be interested to see what it tastes like. You said it's a blend.
Yeah, so it is a blend. Uh, from Kentucky and Indiana, so those are pretty high places where people source a lot of whiskey from.
So what's the proof on it?
The proof on this one is we're gonna have 100 proof, 50%. So it'll be a little up there, but not too strong. Shouldn't be too spicy.
Okay.
But at a good range for a straight bourbon whiskey.
Okay, so it's a straight bourbon whiskey. So what that should tell us, since it's straight bourbon, we know it's been in the barrel at least 2 years. So we'll see what goes on beyond that. Um, it's a bourbon whiskey, it says, so we know it's not just a whiskey, but a bourbon, meaning that at least it was in a new oak barrel and has char level, and so that's giving the coloration to it. It's got a good color to it, good amber color to it. Hopefully, it's going to lend some good notes. We'll get hopefully some caramel notes out of it, some vanilla, but we'll wait and see. So, how long has this company been around? Any idea?
They are pretty new. Think they've been working on this for. I heard about it just a few months ago that they were coming out with this.
So it's kind of like a startup company, I guess.
Yeah, just a startup company of some people who are fans of playing Dungeons and Dragons games like that, sitting around a table enjoying time with friends, and just being like, "Hey, we like whiskey. Why don't we start a company for fans and try to bring something new uh, to not only the whiskey space but also those."
And so you're able to get in on getting the new bottle, the first bottle out, and as part of that, though, is kind of a bundle package you got involved in, or what was that?
Yeah, so they had a bundle. I don't know if they'll still be doing it when they release the second batch, where you can just pre-purchase the first 4 bottles. So they're gonna do 4 bottles in this first kind of series of drops, uh, and they're planning on having several drops. I think something like 16 bottles in total at the end of it all.
Oh wow!
But just the first 4 you can purchase in advance, and just kind of things you get with that is uh, kind of virtual tasting with the co-founder and the master distiller and those involved over Zoom, which I have yet to partake in, but that should be fun just to kind of talk with them and get insights in that. And then also one thing that's pretty cool is the bottles are labeled. So this is number 953 out of 5,000. And part of being in that what they call High Rollers Guild is I can keep this bottle number if I so choose. So all my bottles will have the same number
Okay.
of 953. So that's a pretty cool thing that they're doing to just keep it personalized and kind of have a different, unique experience to receiving and purchasing a bottle of whiskey.
All right. Well, we'll see what it tastes like. So here we go. All right. Do not spill it. You're definitely getting 100 proof. Um, getting some almond, getting some definitely some. Trying to figure out what it reminds me of, honestly. So almost like a Maker's Mark. I've got vanilla. I'm definitely getting almond. Got some vanilla on the backside. Definitely reminds me a lot of a Maker's Mark to it. Um, the third sip in, you're definitely going to get more flavors coming out. You want to try it with any ice in it?
Yeah. Mhm. Put some little. Try to open it up with some water. See what we get.
Or I guess one ice cube is going to be all I get, which is fine. Um, just a couple droplets of water sometimes opens up the flavor palette. Um, Kind of mellows out you know the alcohol.
The burn on the front.
Yep. So it's an interesting way how to bring in more to enjoy bourbon, right, and whiskey. You find that other kind of niche people or people who enjoy already sitting around and playing games and board games, which honestly, it's kind of a lost, I'll say art, but we used to do that when I was a kid all the time because we didn't have the internet, we didn't have computer games, we didn't have what y'all have nowadays, honestly. Um, and so that's what we did, play board games and that nature. But, bourbon is about that, right? Come on, coming that, sitting around, talking to each other, getting to know each other, just enjoying that time together. And that's kind of what it brings it back to today. But
I think that's definitely what the founders and creators of this brand of spirits is going for. Is that hey, we already sit around, and play games or whatever, and enjoy people, and people do that a lot with bourbons and whiskeys as well. So it's just why don't we bring a bourbon and whiskey that's created for those people in that space? Because if anybody out there is one or know people are into like Dungeons and Dragons in that space, they are very hardcore fans of what they like to do. Um, there's a huge market there, but there's not really anybody in there doing a whiskey or a spirit in that space. They're all built uh, doing merchandise and things for the game rather than like a whiskey or something. So it's a new product in that space of fans.
yeah, and reaching young people, honestly. So that, demographic that's, in your 20s and your early 30s, maybe that's kind of refound that D&D kind of gaming. There's other games, of course, other than D&D, but that are in that space, as you said, kind of reaching that demographic. So again, this is the first one. We'll see what they come out with the next, 3 or 4. I mean, we'll see what happens, what's ahead, but
As a first one, pretty good.
pretty good.
It's not a bad whiskey for somebody on their first
No,
try.
no. It'd be interesting to see what it comes out with next. Now, you said the next one's called Rogue.
The next one will be the rogue character for anybody who's played or is playing knows that character. That one will be interesting because that character is more of a stealthy person. Paladin is more of like a holy knight as their first launch.
So is that why they're healer? Is because of Paladin? That's why you get heal. Yeah.
I think that is a little bit to do with the bottle. Maybe we'll see if they continue that HP theme or if they change it up based on the character. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, the healing knight. Um, so it'll be interesting to see. They're gonna go up in proof with something that's on a more aggressive character theme, or how they're gonna go about creating each bottle, making it different based on the theme around it.
Well, that's all we have from the Whiskey Pit for now. So until next time, drink up, get more healing points, and until next time, cheers.